time for the war cry. This one for Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Can't forget about the bros in the North tribes. Enough said that we servants of the Most High, and it's no lie, on the Most High. We teach the laws in this earth. The Lord touched my mouth, he said use his words. He made me a prophet from birth. This work, it ain't for the weak. This earth, it ain't for me. This war ain't carnal but spiritual. For the battle here is not fleshly, but the flesh weak. So I press feed on the laws of God, so don't test me. And when it's time for war, the bro sounds the horn. I'm like a beast unleashed, you can't tame me. You preachers like cowards. You ain't rightly dividing the word of truth. You worship the creature instead the creator. Yahweh is coming to mutilate you. Oh, true. You washing, you dipped in the blood of the lamb. Gee golly, goddamn, I don't understand. If pastor's right man, then where is the man who stands in the midst of 7 golden lamps? Ain't no time to dance, we pull up our pants. We marry not now, but surely it's here. He who wants wisdom, then please give an ear. Put on from the fear. The whole armor of God is what we need to wear. All of the lights is like a chandelier.
Get me Deuteronomy 28:64. Africa's mentioned all through the Bible. You said you're from Nigeria, correct? Okay. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
So that was a curse that fell upon the Israelites, correct? You're familiar with that, right? Now, how do we know who the 12 tribes of Israel are? Give me Genesis 49, verse 1 and 2. I'm gonna get to Nigeria in a minute. Just bear with me. Let me build up to it.
I love you.
Oh, praise it. Come on.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
So in the last days, this lets you know the 12 tribes of Israel are still here and present, correct? Now, get me, I want to jump down. Give me Deuteronomy 28:68. Then I'm going to show you something historically.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
What's your name, young man? What's your name? Ayatune. Okay. Pleasure to meet you. Come on.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Now you know it says again. You didn't have to go into ancient Egypt with ships. They walked. They walked. Remember in Exodus, they walked. So this is prophetic, right? Prophetic. The word Egypt means bondage. That's what it means. Read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So you got to examine what race of people went into bondage on ships. It wasn't talking about a yacht. It wasn't talking about a cruise liner. It said you're going into slavery on ships. Right. Come on.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
We wouldn't see the promised land no more again as ours. Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Now once we got off the slave ships, Moses said you would be sold unto your enemies. Read.
For bondmen,
slave men,
and bond women,
slave women.
And no man shall buy you.
So the great black leaders that rose up in this country, like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they tried to save us. Marcus Garvey, they could not. Now let's get to Nigeria. In this book, Africa's Gift to America by J.A. Rogers, right? Hold that. I'm going to page 32. Read the highlighted part. This is about the blacks that was here in slavery.
In 1787, when 351 ex-slaves were being sent from England to Sierra Leone, West Africa.
So slaves was coming back from from England to Sierra Leone and Africa. The same thing happened over here in America. They took many of the ships of slaves back. Once the emancipation came, they made it illegal. They sent many of the slaves back, and they went throughout Nigeria and inhabited the coastal plains of West Africa. Okay?
That's Liberia.
Liberia, correct.
That should be Liberia.
Correct, 100% correct. As well as Cape Verde and places of that nature. So, we know the people of West Africa, Nigeria, are Israelites. You have the Igbo.
Ghana.
You have Ghana. Those are Israelites as well. Give me Isaiah 11 and 11. Because God says there's a remnant that is over there. Isaiah 11:11. Okay?
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
Egypt is in North Africa, okay? But that includes the continent. He's just pinpointing Egypt because that was a major place the Israelites were at. You understand what I'm saying?
Most of the countries mentioned in the Bible,
Yes.
they are maybe representation.
Representation, right. Of continent, whole place.
Right, I understand.
And from Pathros and from Cush
Cush is Ethiopia. Go ahead.
and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea.
That's why I mentioned Cape Verde, places like that. So they are Israelites. But now, the thing is, when you go to Hosea chapter 1, what I want you to see, the Most High is raising up the remnant of his people here in this place first to go forth and gather Israel. I'm going to show you that. Hosea 1, 10, 11.
Hosea chapter 1 verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
So, the Chinese is not the most numerous nation on earth, like the United States Census likes to say. They say, oh, the Chinese number millions. God says the Israelites number the sand of the sea, which what?
Which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people.
Because in this place, they destroyed us so bad. We didn't know our ancient language, our ancient history. They totally destroyed us. And they renamed us here. Right?
There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God.
So when it says, and there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God.
Hallelujah.
The Spirit of God is coming here in this place because we were the most destroyed. So he's raising up the Israelites here first and foremost. Watch this. We don't.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together.
The children of Judah and the children of Israel shall be gathered together. That's the whole 12 tribes. Read.
And appoint themselves one head.
The one head is Christ. He's Messiah. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Come on.
And they shall come up out of the land.
In the churches, they always talk about the rapture. You heard about that? Let's see who the rapture is for. Read it again.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
And they shall come up out of the land. And they shall come up out of the land. Who is the day? Read that part again. Judah.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel.
That's the they that shall come up out of the land. If we are going by any other name, Baptist, Pentecostal, Episcopalian, Mormon, you're staying here and dying. God is only looking for the Israelites. If we're not good, he's not looking for Americans. He's not looking for Nigerians. He's looking for Israelites. Until we confess that we are the children of God, we are going to stay here and die. Give me that one in Leviticus 26, verse 45. Let me see what that says. Leviticus 26, 45. Come on.
Leviticus chapter 26, verse 45. But I will, for their sakes, remember.
Hold on. I need my Nigerian brother to take a listen. Igbo, hey. I need you to take a listen to this. 1 second. Come on.
Leviticus chapter 26, verse 45. But I will, for their sakes, remember the covenant of their ancestors.
The whole Bible is about ancestry, from Genesis to Revelation. It's not talking about, oh, I'm a spiritual Israelite. I feel in my heart that no. It's talking about the real ancestral lineage of the Israelites. That's why, now give me Romans 11 and 1. You know that, Romans 11 and 1. Okay, all right, all praises, watch this. Come on.
Chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people?
That's what Jehovah's Witnesses say. That's what all Christianity says. God has done away with his people. That's why when you ask them who are the 12 tribes, what do they say? Nobody knows, because God did away with them. But Paul asked the question again.
I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
So Paul said, I'm an Israelite. God didn't destroy us. I'm an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin. Right, now Jeremiah 31:31. What all Christians need to realize, you blacks and Latinos, is that we are the 12 tribes of Israel. And we are not destroyed. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So the new covenant is only for Judah and Israel. It is not for Christians. It is not for Baptists. It is not for Episcopalians. It is not for Roman Catholics. You will not find that in the Bible. Who's the new covenant for? Again, one more again.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
That's who the new covenant of Christ is for. All religions, listen good to what I'm about to say. All religions are false. Everyone. If you're in a religion, any denomination, it's false. I'm going to let you know now. It's exactly. Now jump down about the sun and the moon, around verse 35. Somewhere around there. About if the sun and if the moon.
Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day.
You still see the sun by day, right?
And the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night.
And we see the sun, we see the moon and the stars by night. Come on.
Which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name.
Come on.
If those ordinances depart from before me.
If you could do away with the sun, do away with the moon, do away with the stars,
saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me.
You hear what the Bible says? Then the children of Israel will be no more a nation. But the sun is still here. The moon is still here. The stars are still here. So God foretells and prophesies the children of Israel are still here. And if these churches are not teaching that, they're all false. Every last one of them. They're not telling us who we are. Not at all. So now, you know you're an Israelite. Correct? Give me Deuteronomy 10:16, I believe. Is that what you read earlier?
When you finish reading that, open the book of John, chapter 4, starting from verse 17 downwards.
Okay.
I just want to use that, to lift my spirit up.
To lift your spirit up. Okay, we're going to lift your spirit up. Let me look at what we got. Bear with me a second. Now, Deuteronomy, give me the one about what is required. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
Now you say you know that you're an Israelite, right? Is that what you said? Okay.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
You are to fear the Lord your God?
To walk in all his ways.
Walk in all his ways?
And to love him. And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments of the Lord.
Right? Women are dressed like men, and you have men dressed like women. God gave us a dress code. So if you are an Israelite, and you know you are, and you yourself are not keeping the dress code, they would call you what? A hypocrite. They say you're a hypocrite. You telling us to dress away, and you're not even doing it. Read on. And do them. And so these fringes are meant for us to look upon it and do the commandments. Remember, like if I see a good-looking woman, I want to commit adultery with her. Me looking down at the fringe, no. The law says thou shalt not commit adultery. Although she look real good, I'd be like, I'm very tempted. She gonna come up and say, hey, what's the little funny things on your shirt? Now I'm gonna be convicted. I'll be like, oh, now I gotta explain it. Dag.
That is work of Satan, right?
Exactly. But when she and I look upon the fringe, she's gonna say, hey, brother, I want to go out with you to the hotel, but what does the fringes represent? What is that? Now I have to explain it. Read the part again about, and remember?
And remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them.
So it will force me to keep God's commandments. Even the one I want to be with, she's going to say, what does those fringes represent? I'm going to be so convicted. You understand? Come on.
And that ye seek not after your own heart.
Don't seek after your own heart. Our people today, here, I'm talking about here in America first and foremost, Go ahead and seek not. Watch this.
And your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring.
What do we look at for a dress code after our own eyes and our own heart? Our people look at Essence Magazine, right? Essence Magazine is the black woman's guide on how to be the white woman. That's what Essence Magazine is. You read Essence Magazine? You read it, sister? My wife had a ton. You know you read Essence Magazine. I see the hairdo. My wife had a ton of Essence magazines. All right? Come, sis, come. She had a ton of Essence magazines. Oh, the cigarette you talk about. Read that again.
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring.
Now you see the new law America passed about same-sex marriage. Believe me, that will not only is it affecting same-sex, it's going to affect the dress code as well. You see young men like Will Smith's son, what's his name? Jaden Smith, dressing like a girl, wearing a skirt. Kanye West. They're using the rappers to push an effeminate dress code.
Because people are already making them as an idol.
That's right. So now,
They want to follow them.
brother, as the Israelites, give me that Psalms 94, who shall stand up for me? You know what I want. Okay. Watch this, Psalms 94, 16. Then we're going to get the scripture you call for. Psalms chapter 94, verse 16.
The book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
God asks a question. Because Christ walked the earth already. Now it's up to the sons of God, the children of Israel. That's who he's speaking to. Come on.
Or who will stand
Read it again.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Now you see all the atrocities in our communities. The way we dress is out of order. I'm just dealing with the dress code right now.
I understand.
The way our people dress, women are wearing poom shorts. Some of them got mini skirts. Some will walk around with underwear that they call bikinis. That's underwear.
Those are walks of
So now,
to distract you.
yes, but brother, you got to understand this. How could you say something if you yourself is not doing it? That's why before we come out, we got to make sure we're dressed according to God's law.
That's right.
Make sure you have your fringes and borders of blue, brother. Make sure, else you're going to be a hypocrite when you open your mouth. Because you cannot correct the people, and you yourself are not doing it. That's why Matthew 7, Christ said what? Why behold the beam in your brother's, the mote in your brother's eye, and without taking the beam out of your own. He said, take the thing out of your own eye first, so you can see clear. Right? So that's what we have done.
That's the reason why he said, thou shalt not judge one another.
Right, about
so you don't be judged.
About what? Why did he say judge not? Give me that Matthew 7. Why? First, give me 1 Corinthians 2 and 14. Is that what I want? 15, and then give me Matthew 7, what he quoted. 1 Corinthians, watch this. Guess what? Everybody says don't judge, right? You ever hear people say, you can't judge me, you can't judge,
Well, you
right?
can.
But guess what?
You can judge.
When you go to the family court, how many women you see outside the family court waiting for the judge to pass a judgment and say that Negro owe me child support?
Like I went to
Everybody want judge. Hey, can you judge this situation here?
Right.
But when it comes to the Bible, for some reason they go, you can't judge. You can't judge nobody. So why did they say that to the white man in court?
They're saying it for their own advantage.
So now, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You understand? Okay, watch this.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 15. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things.
He that is spiritual judgeth all things. When you're spiritual, that means you have repented and are keeping God's laws. That's what it means. So you judge all things. The Bible says judge all things. So when we see our brothers and sisters, it's love. It's not hatred that we talk to our people. Because we understand the reason we went into slavery is because we broke the commandments of God. We're the Israelites, the Bible speaks of. That's why we went into slavery. They changed our names, calls us Negroes, African Americans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, all these things. Is because as a result of breaking God's laws. Understand that? So now, Matthew 7 that he was quoting, verse 1.
The book of Matthew 7, verse 1. Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged.
Verse 5.
Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
So when he says, judge not lest you be judged, it's talking about in hypocrisy.
Right.
If I'm an adulterer, I can't say to you, brother, you shouldn't be an adulterer. If I'm a homosexual, I can't say, hey, sister, you can't be a lesbian. I'm a hypocrite. That's why, one more again, verse 1.
Judge not that ye be not judged.
Verse 5.
Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
So that's why he said that. That's why Christ said, judge not lest you be judged. Meaning, clean yourself
Try
up.
and be perfect first.
Right. Try and be perfect.
And you can be able
Right.
to correct.
Put on, like, for example, the dress code and all, it's a law. It's not the most major of God's laws, but it's a law that you can see the first, you can tell a person, give me that in Ecclesiasticus 19 in the Apocrypha, the last few verses about a man's appearance. Because you remember Martin Luther King said, don't judge, how did that quote? But by the character of a heart. I can't quote Martin Luther King. But what he said was wrong. I'm going to show you that in the Bible. Come on.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19, verse 29. A man may be known by his look.
A man may be known by his look.
And one that hath understanding by his countenance.
By the way he looks in his face.
When thou meetest him. A man's attire.
A man's attire means his clothing.
And excessive laughter.
And what comes out his mouth.
And gait.
And gait means the way he walks.
Show what he is.
Show what he is. So God says, you can tell someone by the way they look. Martin Luther King said, no, don't do that. So we are supposed, when you see a young man with his pants below his butt, which comes out of the prison system of homosexual life, young man, pull your pants up. Why do I got to walk around and see the crack of your behind? That's homosexual. Okay? All right, he may not acknowledge it at first. He may not be practicing, but it begins to wear off. Because in jail, like I got family in jail, when somebody walk by and say, go up, you put your finger. Well, let me be quiet on that. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, as men of God, people of God, we're supposed to correct the various situations in our community. This Bible can clean everything up out here, but we must teach God's laws. That is the problem, law and order. We don't like law. We want that carefree life. Don't tell me what to do. That's why we're in this situation. That's why the white man is ruling us.
Because they took the word of God out of school. Out of elementary.
That's a part of it.
Because, you see, I'm sorry to say this, I'm not judging.
No, go ahead, let me hear.
In Africa, they teach us, they allow us to learn about the word of God. So that is as the word of God. Whoever don't live by the word of God,
okay,
go astray.
Exactly. That's true.
So, because they took all this away from school, all the children, they now lack moral. Because this book will teach you how to have moral.
Let me show you something. Give me Isaiah 29:13.
I don't know if I'm right.
Even, well, I'm explaining it. Even in Africa, Nigeria, where some of them, I'm going to show you. Because even here, the Bible used to be taught in the school, but there was still a problem. Watch this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth.
How do our people draw near God with their mouth? We all say, I love God. Yeah. Sister, you love God?
Yeah, but not deep down.
You love God?
Yes, sir.
You love God, right? We all say we love God. Everybody say we love God. I love God. Right. Read it again.
For so as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me.
That part. When it says but have removed their heart far from me means the heart of God is this. When it says we have removed our heart far from God, meaning we won't do what this book says. We refuse to obey what it says. I'm going to give you an example. Give me Deuteronomy 20:25 for the young lady right here. Watch this. And I want you to explain this law to me. Okay, Deuteronomy 22:5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
What does that mean?
To me, that means that you're not bound by God's law, and that the women who dress like men and the men who dress like women will not be accepted into the kingdom of God?
No, that's not what you're saying. You said that way is not right.
No, but she's okay. She's all right.
You asked me what did that mean
Yes,
to me, sir.
I'm asking her.
You asked me.
No.
But you asked me what that means to
Yes,
me.
right.
So that's my opinion.
Yes, and that is,
So if I have it wrong,
no, you're right. You're 100% correct.
Thank you.
And because, for example, on my pants I have a zipper, right?
Yes, sir.
All of us. Why do men's pants have zippers?
Because they have things down there
Right.
to unzip.
Then you have women wear the same outfit
Right.
and say, sister, you pulling something out there? Nope. She has nothing down there. But it's a trans, I don't know the proper word, you gotta, transgender in society.
Changing the sex.
Changing the sexes.
Right.
Men could be like women, women could be like men. God says that is abomination. Or understand. So now many of us, our sisters, many of our brothers are guilty of that.
Yes.
We're reading it to them for them to do what? Are we reading it saying, God's going to kill you? Are we saying that? We're reading it for you to go, you know what? Let me get my life right with the word of God.
Right.
You understand? That's what we're doing.
Correct us.
To correct us. That's what we're doing. No. Give me 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. Now, if y'all have questions, ask your questions.
I have one, but I can't.
Okay, sister, what's your question? I want to hear it.
Isaiah 6 and what you just asked him to give you?
We just read Deuteronomy 22 and verse 5. Very good.
Isaiah, you told him before that?
Before that, what did we read?
You haven't read
Isaiah
that?
29:13.
Okay.
I'm forgetting stuff out here.
Okay, now, I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
Brother, I approached a brother that was on the other corner. Because he was speaking out of the Bible. And I asked him, well, you guys out here preaching the word of God out of the King James Version?
Yes.
I said, because if not, I don't really care to hear about it, you know. He showed me that, yes, we are talking out of the King James Version. Okay, I said, well, in these days and times, I know a little bit about the Bible because I've been raised. They say once you leave the nest, you never forget. You know what I'm saying? So I asked a question. I said, how do we know now when the Antichrist is coming? Because you got so many false prophets out here, you know, and they're teaching, like you said, they're teaching the wrong things. You know, I know that I'm not where I should be in Christ's eyesight, but I know I'm not where I used to be.
Okay,
You understand? And I look and I search every day for more knowledge.
Okay.
You know, but you got so many false prophets out here, you don't know who to listen to, who not to listen to. And they say Christ is going to come back like I think it was right among all of us.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Antichrist for a second.
That's what I need to hear
I'm going to build up to it. Give me Revelation 10. Give me the scripture about bitter. In Revelation 10, I think it is. I'm guessing. You know what I'm talking about? 10, it might be eat the word. Right here, verse 9. Watch this. What's your name, sister? What's your name?
My name is Michelle.
Michelle. Okay, listen good to this.
The book of Revelation, chapter 10, verse 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book.
The little book is the Bible.
And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
Now, take the little book and eat it, meaning learn it. It's going to be sweet in your mouth, but bitter in your belly. Let me explain that. The belly's really talking about your mind. So, meaning you're going to learn this Bible, but there's going to be things in it that's going to be bitter to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You're going to hear things, learn things, and be like, dang, I never knew that. You understand?
Yes.
And don't let me forget Antichrist. I need to build up to it first.
Right. Okay.
Get me Deuteronomy 28:15. I'm going to start with the sweetness first. Then I'm going to show you the bitter.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
If you will not obey the voice of the Lord your God,
to observe to do all his commandments,
you must do all his commandments. But let me ask you a question first, Michelle. Who is Moses talking to? This is when we came out of Egypt. Who's he talking to that left out of Egypt?
The Israelites.
The Israelites. Very good. Watch this. Go ahead.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So Moses said to the Israelites, listen good, if you break God's commandments, all these curses will come upon you. Let's read these curses and then you tell me who these curses fit. Verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Who did that happen to? Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people,
And thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hands.
So your sons and daughters would be given to another people, meaning another race. And there would be no might in your hands to get your children back. Who did that happen to? Think good. You can look around at the pictures to help you out, Michelle. Just take a look.
I'm trying to think. Did that happen to Jesus?
No, that didn't happen to Jesus. Nope.
Because I'm lost.
Okay. No, it's okay to be lost. It's okay. I'm going to help you. Read verse 48.
Verse 48.
I'm just getting you some key verses, Michelle.
Yes, sir. I'm writing them down.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
Who had yokes of iron on their neck until they were destroyed, Michelle? Who?
The slaves.
The slaves. Now, you see this in it. Where's the picture? Oh, it's over here, Michelle. You can see actual photos. Show her. I want y'all to see this good. This is whose history, Michelle? Our history.
Yes, sir.
So, Moses is talking to what was the name of the people he's talking to?
Israelites.
So what does that prove, Michelle? Who are we?
We are the Israelites.
We are the Israelites. All praises to the Most High. Watch this.
Can I ask the question, sir?
Oh, 1 second. Bear with me a second. In school they taught us about slavery, right?
Yes, sir.
How did our people get to this country? On what? Did we take an airplane over here?
On boats.
Right, boats, ships, right?
Ships.
Watch this, verse 68. Listen good.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
The word Egypt means bondage, slavery. Read again, come on.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
How?
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemy.
When you get off the slave ships, what would happen to us?
Ye shall be sold unto your enemies. For bondmen,
Slave men,
and bondwomen,
slave women.
and no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem us. What are we proving, Michelle? That we are the Israelites. We are the people of the book. Now, ain't that beautiful? Ain't that sweet?
Yes, sir.
That is darling. We love that thing. Man, that makes me happy. But now, there's bitter stuff we were talking about. The bitter, because that was sweet in our mouth. Yeah, we God's chosen people. Yeah. What's the bitter part? Get me Genesis 25:25. Genesis 25. Start up at 23. You got what I want, right? Okay.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 23.
What part of America you come from?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. All your life?
No, sir.
Where's your family from originally?
Virginia. All over Virginia.
Okay, well, you ever been down south?
Yes, sir.
Okay, watch this.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
This is Isaac and Rebekah. Rebekah's wife is pregnant. This is Genesis, the beginning of all nations. He said, read it again.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
So Rebekah's pregnant. God says 2 nations are in your womb, in your belly.
With twins.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 manner of people shall be separated from your stomach. Okay?
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
So the elder child that comes out first shall be a servant. Watch this.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
The twins are fraternal twins, not identical, because it already said 2 manner of people shall be separated.
And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment.
Now, when we examine it, Michelle, what people on the earth is red? That's why I asked you if you've been down south. Down south, what do we call so-called white people? What do we call them? Rednecks. It ain't just their neck that's red. They red. The blood shows through it because they have no melanin in their skin. They are red. Right. Go ahead.
And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
His name was called Esau.
And after that,
that was the origin of the so-called white race. Esau is their father. You with me so far? But
and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's ear.
Wait a minute. They didn't mention the color of his brother. It just said the first boy was red. It didn't mention the brother. Read it again.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
So they didn't mention Jacob's color. Why is that? I'm going to explain why they didn't mention Jacob's color. They mentioned Esau's color because at that time Esau was the only one different in the earth. Everybody else, which came from Adam, looked like this. Genesis 2:7. Watch. You tell me what color this is.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
Michelle, what color is the dust of the ground? The dust. There you go. Everybody on the earth was the color of the dust of the ground. Except Esau. When Esau came up, they said, hey, this baby red all over. Like a hair, he was different.
Yes.
So now, watch this. Watch this, Michelle. Back to Genesis 25. Jump down to verse 30, and they called his name.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Therefore was his name called Edom. So Esau's name was also called Edom. Edom means red. You understand? Now what does God say about this race of people in the Bible? Malachi chapter 1. Oh yeah, here's a red hairy baby, Michelle. You see that?
Yes.
Red and hairy. What are we reading? Bible prophecy. And it has never been taught in the churches, Michelle. Never.
I've never heard it.
You never heard it?
No,
Exactly.
I've never heard it.
Exactly. Now watch this. This is what God says about the race of Edom.
The book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4. Whereas Edom said,
who's Edom?
Edom is Esau, which is the red one.
That's right. Very good. Read again.
whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Listen to what the Lord says about Edom.
They shall build, but I will throw down.
Edom shall build up society, but God says he will throw down.
And they shall call them,
and they shall call Edom
the border of wickedness.
Wait a minute. Call Edom what?
The border of wickedness.
I don't think Michelle had that. Read that again.
The border of wickedness.
They shall call Edom what?
The border of wickedness.
The border of wickedness. You know what a border is? The border is the beginning and end of any land. Like a boundary. God says Edom is the border of wickedness. So now, watch this, Michelle. I'm going to show you what Edom does. For example, you see they have a long line over there, right?
Yes, sir.
Edom, what they do, they set up Salvation Army. They set up Salvation Army. Give me some other names. Can drives, and they give food to the people, correct? And the people go, I love them. They're so good to us. The Bible says they are the border of wickedness. So now you have in your mind, you be like, well, I don't know if I agree with that, because they gave me housing, shelter, food, school, right? That's why when you learn the Bible, it's going to start to become bitter to you. Watch this. Go back to Deuteronomy 28:48. Watch this, Michelle. Watch. We already read it, but I'm gonna show you something. I want y'all to listen very good.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48.
This is the curses upon our people.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So who will we serve, Michelle?
Our enemies.
Our enemies.
In hunger,
you would serve them in hunger. You want food, you got to serve your enemy.
And in thirst,
you want some water, you got to serve your enemy.
And in nakedness,
you want clothes for your body, you got to go to your enemies.
And in want of all things.
One of all things, meaning if you want to learn how to read, learn how to write, if you want toilet tissue, guess who you got to go to?
Your enemies.
It said, you see the key word out of that? Enemy. Yeah. So now you sit back and go, wait a minute. I thought they was good to us. I got public assistance. I got a welfare card. Food stamps. But God says they are our enemies. You understand that? Malachi said they are the border of what? Wickedness. So now, remember it said, eat this book. It's going to be sweet in your mouth. We the Israelites. But then it says it's going to be bitter later on. You'll be like, wait a minute. Wait. This man that I thought was my friend, you might have some good Edomite friends. Maybe. Who'll give you $1 when you want some money. And they might help you. You go, these people are good. That is not what God said. You understand that? Now, watch this.
That's a trick.
Right. So now watch this. The Bible says your enemies would take care of you, right? They would give you, if you want food, water, or clothing, right? We just read that. Now I'm going to show you a parable of Revelation that says the same thing, but it uses a different word instead of the enemy. You tell me what the word is. Revelation 12, you know what I want? About nourished from.
Revelation 12.
Uh-huh.
That's about when the mother of Jesus
Bear with me.
went through the pains to give birth to
You got it, you got it. Watch this, watch this.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 6.
Now, the book of Revelation is like a parable. The word parable means illustrated story. God is going to illustrate certain things to you that he already told you in the Old Testament, like we just read. Watch this.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
Let's find out who this woman is. Read verse 1.
Verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
The 12 stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what a woman represents. Now jump down to where you was at. What verse was that? I want verse 14.
Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle,
Meaning a great deliverance the Israelites was given.
that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time.
Listen, keyword, where she is nourished. Where she's given food, clothing, shelter, and whatever she needs.
For a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent.
From who?
From the face of the serpent.
What is it calling the man that nourishes us? The serpent. The serpent. Now watch this, verse 9.
Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent.
That old serpent.
Called the devil.
Called what?
Called the devil.
What are we reading? The Bible. The Bible calls the man that nourishes us the devil. The Bible calls the man that nourishes us that old serpent.
That's right.
The Bible calls the man that nourishes us the enemy.
Right.
This is some hard stuff, Michelle. So you really got to sit back and say, wait a minute, this is... We never learned that in church. You never learned that in church. You understand that? So now you're going to have a decision to make. Now we're talking about Antichrist. I didn't forget 1 John chapter 2, verse 18. 1 John. Oh, give me the book of names, the baby name. I want to show you something. Anybody knows who the Roman Empire was? The Roman Empire, who are they? They are the Romans. That's all you know? Okay. Come on, who got it for me? Okay, I want to show you the name of this book, Classical Biblical Baby Names. Now, this is written by scholars. Okay, you going to take a picture of it? Okay, take a picture of it. Let me know when you got it. Now, I'm opening the book, and we're going to look up Esau. You know how to read good, Michelle? You know how to read pretty good? You all right?
Yes, sir.
You see that highlighted? Is that what I want, the highlighted part?
Yes.
You see that highlighted part down there?
Yes, sir.
Can you read that for me?
Okay. Of interest, according to the commentaries on Hebrew scripture, Esau is considered a significant character in world history and the forefather of the Roman Empire.
So Esau is the father of the Roman Empire. Rome, Italy. You heard that? Esau is the father of Rome. They don't teach that in church. Most churches say nobody knows who Esau is. That's why when the white man conquered, he changed the names of all the people so that you would not understand this book. But now the truth of God is coming out. We're realizing we're the Israelites. He's Esau. No matter what he called himself, he twists everything. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Antichrist.
The book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 18. Little children, it is the last time. And as you have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time.
Even now there are many Antichrists. Anti means against,
Yes.
correct? Against Christ.
Yes.
Who was the major force? Listen good to what I'm about to say. Who was the major force against Christ? Because you had scribes and Pharisees, but they weren't the really ruling empire that could really put people to death too too much. They had to get authority from who?
Jesus.
Who? From, no, answer the question. From who? So what were they called in the Bible?
They were called Esau.
Who?
They're the Esau.
Esau. The Roman Empire. Read it again. Hold on. Let me finish with her. I haven't finished. You keep interrupting.
No, I'm sorry.
1 John 2:18. Little children, it is the last time. And as you have heard that Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists.
Now let's get 2 Thessalonians 2. It talks about Antichrist. It calls the Antichrist the man of sin, the son of perdition. Now, we're going to go through it slow. Now, y'all going to be able to explain it for yourselves.
2 Thessalonians
Start at 2 verse 3.
chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Perdition means hell or destruction. Who is the man of sin? Who is the son of hell? That's the Antichrist that we're discussing. Read it again. We're going to explain.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
The first thing the Antichrist, the son of perdition, the man of sin would do, is oppose all that is called God. This is called God, this Bible. Anything you want to know about God, Michelle, is right here. Let's start off first. Who changed all the names of the races from the Bible to what they want? Who did that? Who? So-called white people did that. That's number one. Go ahead.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
He sits in the churches of God,
Showing himself,
he shows himself
that he is God.
that he is God. Wait a minute. Wait, stop. Oh, you ever see this, Michelle?
Yes, sir.
Who's that supposed to be?
Jesus.
He shows himself that he is God. Can you prove that Jesus Christ looked like that? How about you? You cannot.
You're making point.
So, does the Bible describe Jesus Christ?
Oh, like that.
Now, we got two things here. You got a picture here?
And this does
You got a picture there.
like that.
All right, let's read it. Let's read it. Revelation 1, 14. You got it? What does it say, Michelle?
It says he has a hair, white wool, and eyes red as lion.
And his skin?
Golden skin.
Skin like it burned in a
Yeah,
furnace.
like a
See,
boss.
see
Yeah,
there?
I read it. I
You
read
see,
it.
go back to 2 Thessalonians. We ain't got to get it now. Because she know it. You know it.
Yeah.
All praises to the Most High. Now get back to that verse again that you left off.
Whoso who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Showing himself that he is God. Who's this talking about? The white man. Not only is he called the brother of wickedness, like we read earlier, right? Not only is he called the enemy, like we read in Deuteronomy 28, right? Not only is he called the serpent, like we read in Revelation 12. Not only is he called the devil, he's called, what was that again? And that man.
And that man of perdition, the son of perdition.
Read it again.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
So this white man is also called the man of sin. He's also called the son of perdition, which means hell. The Bible has various names for him. You understand? Various names. So, watch this. Read down from 2 Thessalonians. What verse you left off at? Verse 5.
Remember ye not, when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know that what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
Listen good to this part.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work.
The mystery of iniquity doth already work. Iniquity means sin.
You said death already worked.
No, the mystery of iniquity.
Nobody iniquity. The words in this, the death already worked.
No.
For the mystery of iniquity doth.
That means doth. D-O-T-H means does.
Okay.
Does already work.
You say don't already work.
It's already in existence. It's already on.
Doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
Now watch this. Now it's calling him the mystery of iniquity. Because if you ask our people, who's the man of sin? Who's the son of perdition? They're going to say, I don't know, the Antichrist. Who's that? I don't know. We've already proven who he is. Now watch this.
and then shall that wicked be revealed.
Who's the wicked? We read it in the scripture earlier. Who's the wicked? Who's the wicked?
White man, Esau.
There you go. This Bible is telling you who the wicked is.
White man.
Well, this thing is this Bible is our records, our book.
So the white man is actually, you're saying the Antichrist
Yes.
is the white man.
There you go. And not just one. It's not one guy.
It says many of them.
Right. It says, go back to Malachi 1 and 4. Then let me get to your question. Back to Malachi 1 and 4. One more again so you understand. Because people go, I remember when I was young, they used to say Ronald Reagan was the Antichrist. They used to say, check Ronald Reagan's head, see if there's 3 6s. No, they ain't talking about that. I watched Malachi 1 and 4.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever.
It says the people whom the Lord has indignation against forever. Indignation means righteous anger. It says the people. Read that again.
And the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever.
It said one guy.
And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
Is it just the president?
And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation.
Is it just Ronald Reagan?
The people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
You see that, Michelle? It's the people. God is against the people of Esau forever.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathanyel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates on all our YouTube channels.